Hi, this is Shui with a review of the Jordan Ultrafly 3. The Jordan brands have come up with a lot of shoes. They mostly look like takedown, recycled bits and pieces of former Jordan brand shoes. But this one um, is actually pretty good. It's actually one of my favorites among the Jordan brands with the Jumpman lineup. Even better than the Chris Pauls. A lot better than the Chris Paul series. The CP3 series have looked good, but it did not deliver. Did not form to my feet very well. They had some weird fitting. Maybe it's customized to Chris Paul's feet. Not too sure. But anyway, Ultrafly 3, it weighs about 380 grams for a size 9.5, so that's really light. And the upper, as you can see, it feels a little bit of a suffocating, stifling lid or a skin is on top, but it's not hard or anything. It's not rigid, but it still adds another layer that hinders the ventilation of the shoe. Even if it's got some mesh type of material here, it's just for visual eye candy only. It does not serve any purpose. It's other than the outside textile mesh or this fabric type of material, which is pretty thick. Inside there's another inner booty, neoprene type of inner booty. So even if you have these little holes, it's unless you puncture another extra hole in the inner booty, it's not going to provide much of a ventilation. The the padding is nicely done. It's not a high cut or a low cut, it's somewhere in between, and it does not chafe into any part of your ankle, so that's great. And the nice little Achilles pad does not hinder your movement either. This little strap, it's I guess for design purpose only, does not have any function. Aesthetics, I suppose. Some designers were trying to flex their creative muscles, I suppose. As for this part, you might wonder about, is this going to be another headache to lace up? But it actually peels down quite easily, all the way down to maybe just a couple of lace loops that's out of reach. But because it's a speed lacing system, you can pull them all up from maybe from this lace loop onwards. You can pull everything up from there. Then you can loosen them up with these couple of laces down there. So it does not provide any difficulty or a hindrance to tightening your laces or loosening them up or putting your feet inside. It's a nice loose one booty upper, so one piece upper. So yeah, not much of a challenge or difficulty or frustration when tying your lace loop back on. You can cut this off if you wanna. It's not going to affect lockdown in any way because they do have shoelaces. The fit, it's a bit narrow here. You can tell there's some inner workings here, inner knitted, stitched materials, multiple layers here. So it kind of can pinch your pinky depending on the size of your feet. If you don't have really narrow feet, you might want to go up half a size or go up a full size because the toe box is not that high, so it doesn't provide you with this weird vacuum insecure feeling inside the shoe. It provides adequate lockdown. As for the outrigger, it doesn't have any, but the base is quite wide, and the shoe itself, the midsole is quite thin, but provides adequate cushioning, so it's low to the ground. So it provides safe ride, and it prevents you from rolling your ankles in any way, despite the absence of an outrigger. Having one would be good too. As for the cushioning, it has zoom in the forefoot and the heel, which is something we're supposed to be thankful for Nike these days, and when it should be something that's a basic given right to sneaker consumers or absorbers or fanatics like us. So yeah, this one has a forefoot and a heel zoom, and you can feel them, especially the heel, the Phylon or the EVA midsole is very soft, so it provides a soft landing, whichever part you may be striking, and it provides a smooth glide towards the forefoot. The forefoot zoom air, you can't really feel it, but you know it's there. I mean, it's not like waterbed type of soft, but you can feel it. You can feel it working, so that's good. And it's very low to the ground. So if you're a fan of those, like the Kobe 5 or the 6, then you'll actually take a little stroll down memory lane in terms of how they feel on your foot when you put them on in terms of cushioning. The outsole, the grooves, as you can tell, it's got little holes here. These holes are actually full holes. The outsole has got holes, and the purple bits are actually the midsoles. This is a nice touch. I wish they could have made it bigger and through the midsoles where you don't need it, so it provides some ventilation and lightens the shoe a little bit more. But it is a nice little touch. It looks nice, and it actually would help in terms of letting dust flow out or pile up and then just roll up and clunk out like boogers. So that's a good touch. The outsole, the herringbone pattern, has been a disappointment in the Adidas lineup, but for these Jordan Ultrafly 3, what they did is the blades are thin and sharp, and the spacing is wide, and that makes for good traction. That's different from the failed Adidas lazy copy paste herringbone pattern they had. See, the blades are fat and flat, and the gap is very narrow. That's why it didn't work. Maybe it makes a few squeaking sounds, but it's not going to be providing you adequate traction unless it's pristine, crystal clear cord. It's up a lot of dust, and even without eating up dust, it's not going to be providing the bite you want. As for this H part, is the worst part. It's the most slippery part of the slippery shoe. And unfortunately for the Ultrafly 3, this little flare for design and these 2-3 part, it's just bald. So depending on how you land, it could be the danger zone. But then the good thing is they have additional substantial amount of herringbone traction in between the 2-3, so it should be fine. Unless you land with pinpoint accuracy on these little parts, then yeah, you might slip, but I doubt that's a very likely scenario. Yeah, it's a good shoe, and the Ultrafly 1 and 2 have been a bit of a disappointment. Ultrafly 1 only had zoom back that's visible on the outsole, but you couldn't really feel it, and just nothing in the heel. And Ultrafly 2 actually had forefoot and heel zoom, but the midsole EVA was as hard as the LeBron Soldier 10s, which is hard as bricks. So even if you put zoom in there or cotton candy, you're not gonna feel it. You just feel the rock hard surface of that really firm EVA foam. This one, with the change that's been made, a much softer EVA or injected Phylon midsole, it provides a very soft ride, and you can actually feel the zoom working. As for the lows, they do have the low version of the Ultrafly 3, but I will warn you that when Nike goes from a high top to a low top version, they tend to leave something out in the low top version and sell it cheap. For instance, the LeBron series, they'd always manipulate the cushioning a little bit and leave something, make something lacking there. As for the Jordan 19s, when they had the low cuts, I was so happy with it, but I was wondering why it's so cheap, but that's because it did not have the double stack zoom with the full length zoom air setting for the lows. You could really feel it once you put the shoe on. The Jordan 33s, same thing. It did not have the same type of midsole or zoom cushioning it had in the high tops as the low tops. So let's please stop doing that, Nike. Yeah, it's cheating. For the Ultrafly 3, the same applies. I feel that they do not insert the zoom air in the heel because the heel feels quite different. I have a feeling they only put zoom air on the forefoot. So get the ordinary regular Joe Ultrafly 3s. They're on sale in a bunch of places. I got mine for like slightly over $50-$60.